"We are ready" rings out the theme. "One world, one dream" screams out the slogan. As the one-party state of China gets ready for the frenzy of 2008 Olympic Games in what is known as the country's greatest coming-out party ever, the world watches closely, and Beijing does not want to falter. The city gets dressed to set iconic standards, and the hosts wear about themselves a quiet confidence.
We are ready. We are ready. Oh.
China is going all out to move mountains and blow billions to play the perfect host next August 2008.
We are ready.
The world is watching China and Beijing with great expectations.
As one of the world's biggest sporting events unravels next summer, Beijing is gearing up like never before to meet expectations and set benchmarks. We went inside Beijing and tried to get to the heart of this matter. Are the Beijing Olympics not just about the game? Is Beijing ready to prove that it is better than the best? That it can match the United States of America, the big daddy of the Olympics, not just in the international sporting arena, but also in the geopolitical space.
36 brand new stadiums, a brand new airport, more than 100,000 volunteers, 1,000 new restaurants. Beijing is promising the world a whole new world come August 2008. The scale that we have seen here is just unmatched and unparalleled. The size of the Olympic Village, for example, has never before been seen, and the athletes are going through rigorous training. It will be a new China that will be on show, a new spirited China, people tell me.
China is leaving nothing to fate. From the futuristic up to the minute ultra-tech sports venues to new road, rail and air links, brand new hotels, spruced up historical sites and acres more of green space, the country's capital is gearing itself to welcome the world in a way that has been unprecedented.
I'm standing right in front of the Olympic Village where the Olympic opening ceremony will be held in 10 months' time. This is a fantastic construction that's going on here, and the whole world will see perhaps the biggest sporting extravaganza of all time. That's what here the locals tell me. They are very confident that China will put up a show which is henceforth unmatched and unparalleled.
At the fast-rising Olympic Green, 5 miles north of the famous Tiananmen Square, all eyes are glued to the Bird's Nest, also known as the National Stadium. A demonstration of awe or a spectacle in steel, this stadium, with a capacity to hold 80,000 frantic fans, will host the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2008 Olympics, apart from some of the competitions.
这个城市的人，我更想问，如果没有奥运会，是不是他们应该在更差的环境下生活？这个生活要维持多久？这是我想问的问题。
But Beijing's king-size preparations apart, this more importantly is China's fight of another, much larger brand, one that will catapult it straight into the numero uno position. And in the midst of all the extravagant arrangements is the quieter, more determined battle to emerge with the highest laurels this Olympics, to become the undisputed winners, to beat every other participating nation, but most importantly, to beat their biggest rivals, the United States of America. Getting into the heart of the matter, we learned that this is not just a hosting country putting up the stage for the biggest gaming canvas in the world. It is indeed a battle between the two world's biggest superpowers.
I would say there's probably greater pressure on the Chinese athletes to outperform since they're the host, since I think they have a greater political stake in this game, since it's their home, it's their locker room, it's their field. And I think they have some greater political pressure. There may be greater rewards for Chinese athletes in this Olympics.
We have the dream of the Olympic Games for 100 years.
The number of gold medals, that's possible. But then for the total medals, it's impossible, I think.
We only have one goal, it's win.
But the battle between the superpowers is not just about winning the medals. Isolated for decades, China's communist government today declares a paradigm shift of sorts. This time around, they don't want to miss the opportunity to show off the country's astonishing transformation to the world. And what better opportunity than the Olympics, which are expected to draw 550,000 foreign tourists next August alone. And with it, China is set to overtake the United States as the world's third largest tourist destination.
I'm inside the Forbidden City here in Beijing, one of the city's best known tourist attractions. But this might be forbidden, the city isn't. During the Olympic Games, everybody here in this city is ready to welcome the foreigners, the visitors, the media, the athletes. One thing is certain, Beijing 2008 will be different. It will mark a historic new beginning in the world's history of sport. London 2012, maybe America 2016, will find it extremely difficult to match that.
More than 100,000 volunteers, specialized Olympic educational courses across the country, over 500 specialized Olympic schools, a detailed study of the history and culture of Olympics. China is going that extra mile and educating the ordinary citizen that has become an extremely important issue in the last 3 years. And as menus in restaurants also have English translations and taxi drivers get a crash course in the Queen's language, we realize that the Chinese are leaving no stones unturned to break every possible language barrier.
So English is the international language. And for the Beijing Games, we say so many foreigners would come, and Chinese wanted to talk to people, to foreigners, and also wanted to introduce them the Chinese history, Chinese culture, and also maybe just make contribution to the games. So not just the teachers, the university students, also like taxi drivers, and even the ordinary people in communities, they were all learning English.
As a student, my classmates and I are very happy and excited.
Are there new stadiums for the games?
Sorry, so nervous.
My English is so.
Because of the 2008 Olympic Games, and Chinese people know the importance of learning English, and they also take every chance to learn English.
The weather too, if one were to be believed, is not being left to the gods. Even while the sultry Chinese weather and foul air may be dissuading skeptics a little too early, all efforts and more are being made to control emissions, utilize rainwater and minimize smog for the benefit of marathons, athletes, tourists and every participating Chinese citizen. These Olympics promise to be one complete eco-friendly effort.
First of all, they will remove more than 1 million cars from circulation, which is huge and will have a dramatic impact. They are continuously relocating heavy polluting industry to other places. They are switching the thermal plants that are now fueled by coal to gas plants.
So if all goes well, this is one Olympic year that will be remembered in history. And going by the scale and detailed preparations, all will definitely go well. Olympics 2008 are more than just a game. It will be a fight to the finish as one of the two world's biggest superpowers, China and the USA, battle it out in the world's biggest sporting event.
you know, to have that gold medal draped around you and to know that you're an Olympic champion. Nobody can ever take that away from you.
The 2008 Olympic Games is 10 months away, but the biggest sporting spectacle is not just about the game. This is the arena in which two of the biggest superpowers, the USA and China, will play out their sporting rivalry and perhaps more. Many say it is a win-win situation for sports, the Olympic movement and the world at large. But it is a fact that only the winner will finally take it all.
These are going to be an Olympic Games that will change Americans' view of China. And they may change the world view of China. I think on a political basis, China can never go back to repression and go back to the Tiananmen Square. I'm struck by the fact that these can be among the most important Olympic Games in a generation.
While the 2008 Olympics may be in and of itself quite simply a major sporting event, for years the Games have been politically hijacked. Observers hesitate, though, to call it a war of the superpowers in the political sense. What they will say, though, is it just may be a war of the supercapitalists.
Politics and sports are indivisible, especially when we're talking about the Olympics. And this time around, the politics has just gotten bigger. As China tries to reach the top and break away from its almost there position, it isn't just a war of the Games. It is a war between two of the biggest nations, for dominance, for power, for control. And the medals, though a catalyst, are an important factor. America has been reigning strong, and China is threatening to supersede. It's China's biggest chance to emerge as winners and emerge as a world power. And it will go to any length to get there. This is a fight that will be worth every watch.
The 2008, I think, are going to be unique for several reasons. One is they're the first Olympics held in what is truly an emerging country of enormous power, namely China. And the interest of the American public, the interest of the world in China and its leadership and its economic development. This is like a flower opening up for the public to look in and to see this country that 40 years ago was a totally different part of the world than it is today.
In terms of individual performances, the Americans dominated, but in terms of the team, the previous World Championships, the Chinese won. So it's kind of been a battle back and forth, and with the home court advantage, and if all their gymnasts hit, they possibly have a chance because they do have phenomenal technique.
Athens 2004 saw the United States winning 35 gold medals and China looming close with a 32. The Americans had an edge of 40 medals in the overall count and won 103, followed by Russia with a 92 and China with a 63. But the heart of the matter, and that which the Chinese will try and exploit, is this. Of the 36 goals, the US won 20 only in 2 sports categories, track and field and swimming. On the other hand, China won 21 goals in 5 disciplines: badminton, table tennis, diving, weightlifting and shooting. China has a much more diversified dominance, and it is that which the US should and is already wary of.
Bringing together thousands of athletes, the Olympics is arguably the world's biggest sporting event. In America, they're ramping up just as hard as their Chinese counterparts. Some experts say only a small percentage have a real chance of bringing home that elusive gold, silver, or bronze medal, but for many, it's simply a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
The Americans realized this threat. they realize that this time relying on their two high-profile Olympic events will not be enough, and it is doing whatever it can to take over the more non-traditional disciplines of cycling, shooting, rowing, archery and fencing. China, on the other hand, has dominated areas like table tennis and diving, but would try to add medals in shooting, track and field and cycling. The changing dynamics and China's arrival as a sports superpower has forced every other nation, and especially the US, to reassess, refine and set new standards.
I think right now the American team is one of the best in the last few years. They've rethought their dream team approach and gone back and created more of a team. And I think maybe the Americans will do better than they have in the last few Olympics.
I think China has the power to beat America. I think so, and I believe that it will come true.
I think America is a very strong nation in some sports. Maybe they are not so good in some sports like table tennis, badminton, diving. The Chinese are good.
They are receiving pressure from themselves since they've trained for so many years, and also their families and friends, but more importantly for the country, because they are really competing for the country.
Beijing wants to celebrate the Olympics king size. Come August next year, the world's eyes will be focused here, and China, one can say, is ready for the job. In Beijing, where the buzz in the air smells just one word: Olympics.
The 2008 Olympics will see the return of 28 sports and will hold 302 events, one more in total than Athens. Overall, there will be 9 new events. It has also been known that while the United States Olympic Committee spends about $50 to $55 million annually on elite athletes, China spends twice as much on its top athletes. But with all the added advantages comes the pressure to perform and win on home ground.
You competing in the home have some very positive things. You are familiar with the environment, your family, your colleagues, your team. So the whole environment is supportive.
Home court advantage is really true in terms of you don't have to acclimate to the food or to a different climate. We knew our family and friends were there, we had the media, and once you get to the Olympics, talent-wise everybody's the same. It's who can put it together when it counts most, so it's a mental game.
No matter how close the finish, only the winner will take it all. And it is only that fraction of a second that will be the judge of years of blood and sweat. That's what sports is all about, and it makes no bones about it. Only the one with the strongest nerves will survive.
I think we live in a society where winning is so important, so winning feels terrific that you attain the goal. There's nothing like that feeling when you're up there on the awards podium and the national anthem's playing and you know that you did what it took to be the best in the world at that specific moment. It's pretty spectacular. You know, to have that gold medal draped around you and to know that you're an Olympic champion, nobody can ever take that away from you. So it's pretty special.
And it's going to be a real fight to get that special position. The US will give it their all to retain their lead, but China will not miss this moment, the moment that is one of the most important in its modern history. For them, these games are about winning acceptance and recognition from a sometimes hostile family of nations. And hosting a successful Olympics will be a powerful tool to win both. The world is watching closely, and an image-conscious nation promises to be ready.
The Olympic clock behind me is ticking. The countdown has indeed begun. Let me say that at the heart of the matter, it's a battle royale between Asia and the rest of the world, or more specifically, between China and the United States of America for the world's #1 sporting nation's accolade. Psychologically at least, the Chinese are prepared. Whether or not they can transform that into reality will be tested 10 months from now. Till then, from Beijing, which waits with bated breath, Boria Majumdar for Times Now with camera person Sandeep Budhimania.